Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm delighted to bid you welcome back to Down to Earth Astronomy. As you might have noticed, the channel haven't been that active for the past, almost a year now. But I'm trying to reboot it, and I've gotten back into to Elite, and I'm beginning to play it again. So I thought I'd begin to upload some videos. And of course, I had to look at mining again, since I enjoyed it so much last time I played. I've also been looking a bit at trading, but for me it's just too much the same. I mean, there's no challenge in trading for me. I need a bit of a challenge, and I find that when mining. So therefore I got back into mining, and I got my old mining asp and went out to the belt. And that was when I noticed there's been quite a few changes to the mining systems over the last year. And the major difference is the rock seems to contain a lot more fragments than they used to. Normally I would get only like 10, 12 fragments. Now I'm getting almost 40 sometimes. And also the mining lasers seems to be mining faster. I'm not sure if that's because I upgraded to the class 2 mining lasers, but I don't recall it being a problem that the limpets have that much of an issue trying to keep up. I mean, as you can see the video running in the background, I have 2 active collector limpets, and they cannot keep up with the mining laser, meaning that when I mine a rock, I have to spend a lot of time just sitting around waiting for the limpets to collect, and that's not efficient. So therefore I decided to make a quick video how I'm going to change my current mining setup. Hopefully I'll try to get more collectors, hopefully 4, and I hope that they will be able to keep up with the mining lasers, so I don't waste time just sitting there. Even though you could use the time when you're sitting and waiting to prospect, the prospector drones have limited range and they fly fairly slowly. So you would have to wait a long time for them to actually reach the rock. So it's much more efficient actually to fly to the rock yourself and then launch the prospector drone. But let's get into the station, and we'll look at the current setup, and I'll talk a bit about how I'm going to change that. Okay, so here we are in the station. And let's talk a bit about what changes we need to do to the mining setup in order to accommodate for these changes that has happened to the game. So the rocks seems to be holding a lot more individual ores. So before, last time I played at least, you would get maybe 10, 12 pieces of fragments each from each ore, or from each rock. And now you get, I think I've counted 40 to 45 maybe from each rock. So each rock is a lot more materials than it used to be, even though the percentages haven't changed. So you get a lot more material. That means that it's more efficient to use a bit more time to prospect for the good ones instead of just going for whenever you find one that's decent. I feel that at least. And again, as you can see, I'm running 2 Type 2 lasers. Unfortunately, I'm not really able to keep up the heat to prevent them from overheating, so I'm probably going to downgrade. And a single Type 2 laser is more than enough to empty a rock fairly fast. And it's not really important how fast you actually mine the rock. The important part here is that we try to balance the mining speed versus the speed that the collector limpets can actually get the material to us. Since I'm lazy and don't want to go and scoop it up myself, I'm using limpets. Sorry. So at the moment I'm running just one Type 3A collector limpet controller, and that's simply not enough. We saw that in the belt when we was out mining before, that I'm spending a lot of time just sitting around waiting for the limpets to actually collect the fragments. So I want to try, I'm not sure if you can do that, but I want to try to upgrade and have 2 controllers, which hopefully would mean that I'll be able to have at least 4 limpets out at any given time, controller limpet or collector limpets. And again, that means I have to free up another type 3. You could downgrade the shield generator to a type 2. That could probably work if you want to keep the refinery, and I might actually do that, I'm not really sure. But another point is, the current refinery that I have here, as you can see, if we can find it here, it should have 8 bins, which is okay. I think it's 8 bins, let me look it up. Refinery 3A, where are you? 3C, there we go, 3A. Refinery bins 8, yeah. So, and the reason why I might downgrade the refinery to something with fewer bins is because if we go into the commodity market, see, when I mine, I divide all the materials into 3 categories. I have my main materials, I have my secondaries, and my garbage. So when I mine, I normally have painite, platinum, palladium, and gold as my primary. So those 4 materials are the ones that I'm going to go for, and if a rock does not have a sufficient quantity of those materials, of one of those materials, I'm not going to bother, I'm going to move on to the next one. My secondaries would be something like beryllium or osmium, still fairly high value materials, and I might go for those if the density is high, and if they are as a secondary on a rock, or I have both beryllium and osmium, I would go for it. They are quite rare, I don't see them that often. It might be because of the area of the space I'm in, I don't know. But I don't really see those too often, but I keep those as my secondary. So that gives us 6 different materials. As I said, the rest is garbage. So I actually only need 6 bins. It is nice to have a spare bin if you have the room for it, but I actually only need 6 bins, because the rest we can just vent that out back into space, because we don't need it, we don't want it. And that's why I'm considering to go in and downgrade my refinery to a class 2A, which should have 6 bins if I recall correctly. That would of course mean I have to sacrifice that cargo rack, but that would free up a class 3 slot that would allow me to fit another collector limpet controller, and I hope you can have 2 of them active at the same time, and that would mean that I would be able to have 4 collectors, because I think 4 collectors would be able to keep up with 1 miner 2 laser, so they can collect at the same rate that you are actually mining. So you're not wasting time just sitting and waiting. Of course, while you're waiting, you can fire out your prospector limpets to prospect the ores around you, but they fly so slowly that it's not really efficient to prospect like that. Ideally, you want to prospect rocks that are obviously less than a kilometer away from you, so the limpets get there fast, and you can move on to the next one. And yeah, just to speed up your mining and to mine as efficient as possible. And reducing the number of mining lasers, of course, also give the added benefit of another class 2 medium hardpoint, which allow us to fit a larger laser or any other module if we feel like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make those changes, and then I'm gonna come back and we will go out and see how it works. Okay, so here we are slowly approaching the planet where we are going to start mining, and I thought I would give a few words of advice. When you're looking for a nice, good planet to mine in, or ring to mine in, I suggest you find a metallic ring. You can see that in the system overview, or you can look it up anywhere on the internet, I guess. You just Google it. And once you approach the planet, as I'm doing here, and soon you should be able to see the rings. You can recognize the rings that they will often have a very bright color. So you can see on this particular planet we have this grayish large outer ring, and then we have a very narrow inner ring that is a lot brighter, a lot wider than the other, and that's where you want to go. That's where we want to mine. I'm not sure if it matters. I like to drop down where it is as light as possible, because that might affect the density. I'm actually not sure if it does. I haven't tested it properly. But I would just dive into the ring where I feel like it. I'm not sure if you get better densities at the resource extraction sites, but I like to just drop down somewhere in the ring, because it's nice and quiet in there. Do it on the day side, and it will become apparent in a minute. Whoa. And there we go. Dropping out. Okay. The reason why I do it on the day side, because ideally I want to have the sun behind me and the planet in front of me. You see, because I selected... Oh, what is that? Someone out here. Who are you? Type 9 heavy, okay. So he's not a danger to us. That's okay. As you can see, I still have the planet selected here. That means you can always use your small compass
Scan detected.
to identify in which direction the planet is, and to avoid running in circles, which you can easily do. I would always move towards the planet, and that means that, of course, because we have the sun at our back, we can clearly see the rocks in front of us. So now that we're out here, let's deploy the mining lasers. Let's open up the cargo hatch.
Cargo scoop deployed.
And begin to prospect.
Programming limpet drone.
And again, I would fly towards the rock until you launch the limpet.
Scan detected.
Yeah, that's okay. And then slowly begin to approach the next one as you wait for the limpet
Prospector
to
limpet
arrive.
engaged.
So again, gold, it's kinda low, so I'm probably gonna go for something else.
Programming limpet drone.
Even though gold is one of our primaries, I think it was a bit on the low side. If that had been painite, I might have gone for it, because painite
Prospector limpet engaged.
is so valuable. But yeah, I'm excited to see if the limpets can keep up with the.
Programming limpet drone.
There we go. Can keep up with the mining laser now that we are able to launch hopefully 4 of them. But I'll go ahead and I'll find a rock, and hopefully you guys will join me there.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Okay, so here we are. I found a nice rock here with 40% palladium, and let's go ahead and mine. And I already launched my 4 limpets, collector limpets. Let's see if they can keep up with the mining laser. So far they're doing pretty well, and I have all 4 of them out now, and it seems like they're keeping up. So again, this seems like that 4 limpets collectors per mining laser is a good place to be if you want to just have them collected, and you don't do anything at all. So by doing this, we should be able to mine more efficiently and not have as much downtime just sitting around waiting for the drones to pick up the materials. And from here is pretty much the same old story, that you prospect, find a good rock, you mine it, and you move on to the next. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you found it informative, if you think I missed something, it was not really that in depth as it could have been. But if you find it informative, if you liked it, give the video a like down below. Consider subscribing to the channel, and This has been Down to Earth Astronomy, and until next time, have a good one.